we were talking about how you've got everyman credentials, despite being a privileged piece of shit like me. And Mary described you as being rugby union but giving league.
That's fair. Well, I played both growing up.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. I don't know if that's.
What, are you both like from really privileged backgrounds?
We went to private school. It's different here though. Neither of us are Tom Horton. You know?
yeah.
That's a reference. He's a British comedian who's
he used to live in the Tower of London,
like literally the Tower of London,
because
not like around.
His dad was at one point the head of the British Army, to the point where like when we would bomb Syria, he would be the guy who had to press the button.
Yeah.
So like the government would ring the Queen and be like, hey, we're going to bomb Syria. And then they would ring Tom's dad and be like...
I didn't realize it was one button.
Yeah. It's like...
Hectic.
There's a Syria button, and then there's like a Northern Ireland button.
Oh, fuck.
Like, you know.
But like
you got to pick where you are.
His son is a comic.
Oh, wow.
Which is such a weird dynamic. And originally he was a musical comic. But
he transitioned away from the music and just was a traditional
he's just a straight stand-up now.
So he used to do improv, wasn't he?
It was improv music, yeah.
Oh, yes, because they were the Noise Next Door, I believe.
The Noise
I
Next
never
Door,
knew him as the Noise Next Door. I only knew him as Tom Horton.
Do you know what the Noise Next Door is?
No.
So the Noise Next Door were like a musical comedy improv band, and they would go on stage and be like, we want a country, and we want a fear. And
Syria
this.
being bombed.
But then they do like an improv thing, and they're incredible, and they still work today. But Tom left years ago to go like solo, and do his own stand up and stuff. But the first few times I seen them, I was like, this is magic. Like, how the fuck are they doing this?
Yeah.
But then when you see it for the 7th time, and you're like, oh. Like
is it pretty similar most times?
Well, you know, like when you ask, like they're asking the audience, "What's your bucket list holiday?"
Yeah,
and then they're asking, like, name what the biggest fear you've got, and you know, when the 7th time, when it's like, right, she wants to go to India and it's spiders again. 3, 2, 1. like there's a lot of common phobias and like bucket list trips, but obviously they are improvising the combinations every night. They are very impressive to watch.
Yeah, it's funny with like that improv stuff where it's like, people want to say that they plan it, and it's like, sure, that's obviously part of it. But like, I remember with Hofstadter when I was touring with him, we'd do like fuck, marry, kill. Like that'll be part of his like Q&A at the end of the show. And the amount of times we got the exact same 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just kind of like by the end, you're like, guys, we actually know this one. So we're just going to tell you, and it's not going to sound as authentic. But, you know, we want to be honest with you.
That's fun.
Well, the rise of crowd work comedy means so many comics now are getting accused of like having like plants in the audience and stuff. Because, and I bet you like half of them are. I bet you people are doing it because, and there's also, I don't know whether you've seen, there was a guy in America who, and I forget his name, he got sort of caught. He was just filming in empty comedy clubs.
I did see that.
Oh, I saw something about this guy getting called out. And it was just adding a laugh track.
Adding a laugh track, doing crowd work, and just like dubbing over like the thing. And it just like, it looks like he's murdering because he's really good at editing. and then he's selling tickets to shows, and like I don't even know whether I hate it, because if he's then good at stand-up, he's just trying to, like, every single one of us is just trying to sell tickets, and he's just gone, totally, like, how do I sell as many tickets as possible? I'll just fake all of this shit, and then he's just doing his proper stand-up
totally. But is he good at stand-up though? That's
I don't know.
You know, that's
is someone who's properly good at stand-up doing that? Like that's
a really good question. But like, I just think, you know, I know so many great comics who they put clips out now because, like, we all have to.
Yeah.
And they get nothing. They get no traction. They get, you know, because the algorithm just goes, oh, not you.
Yeah.
So, like, if one of them, you know, or like someone who doesn't put that many clips out, like Mick Ferry in the UK, if Mick had the idea to do that and then started selling tour tickets, you'd be like Mick's one of the best comics in the country. He's just never really got any sort of traction online. If he used that to get traction, it'd be like, fair play. People are going to go and see someone incredible.
Like the end justifies the means. It's like, whatever. Mick Ferry selling tickets. Yeah. However he did it.
I don't know. I don't know entirely whether the guy that we're talking about sort of qualifies as that or
no. It's just funny. It's just like that someone A is taking the time to do that, and someone else is taking the time to be like, wait a second. Wait a second. He's what? She said her bucket list holiday was India. This sounds contrived.
Yeah.
I'm not for this. But yeah, I mean, look, everyone's out there just trying to scrap it online.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters what you do online, but if you are drawing people to come to your show, then that's it, right? They got to, if they have a good time, they'll come back. If they think it sucks, they won't.
Yeah,
So-
it's the first time you get a fan base, I think people think they end up set for life, but essentially, I just think you get an audition to have a permanent one.
Yep.
Like that's what your first tour is.
Yeah.
Once you can start selling tickets, it's like, right, I've seen this guy do like 4 to 5 clips of a minute each. I like him. Now let's go and see if I like the hour, and then if they like the hour, they'll come back again. But that first one is. They haven't decided they love you yet. They just like you in very small doses.
That's funny, kind of like online dating.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? I don't mind doing these little snippets. Let's beat IRL. I
Yeah.
want to see how tall he is.
It's speed dating, like online clips, and like the algorithm is speed dating. They're like, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then they go, all right, this guy will see how he is on an actual one-on-one date. And you get an hour and they're like, nah.
That's what I'm going through right now, is that people will have known me from doing like dad jokes on the internet, not from my stand-up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they'll come because they're like, he's made me laugh once, we'll give him a crack. And then you've got to win them over with like a completely different format of comedy.
Are you having anyone come and then be like, do the dad jokes?
I acknowledge it at the start that's what I go, is anyone here because they've seen me do dad jokes on the internet? So then I'll just like say one of the late ones that went viral, and then I'll just carry on with like my normal stand-up. So I at
you
least
are-
acknowledge that that's part of it.
You are having your cake and eating it. You're like, I'm going to give him one dad joke. Like, I'm not going to shortchange these fine people. Oh wait, sorry,
Like-
you got a little booger here, mate.
Where? Oh,
Oh, that one, yeah.
okay.
This
This will be the viral
I've
clip.
been a little bit sort of boogied up since the plane.
Oh
I
yeah,
think that was a long plane full of farts and sneezes.
you've been boogied up since the plane. A couple of Colombians had a similar thing.
But like my mate from Liverpool, Paul, who has become like one of the biggest comedians in
Paul
in
Smith?
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the biggest in the world, and
Yeah.
like certainly in the UK. Like he's just sold like 750,000 tickets for his latest tour. But,
What?
like, yeah, he sold 600,000 on the first day.
Oh,
Going on sale.
Holy
it's like
shit.
he's
Wild.
just bought a Rolls Royce. He's looking at mansions. Like he's fucking doing okay. But like he's pretty much famous for crowd work clips.
Yep.
And that was originally from the comedy club. So what he does is he opens for his opener.
yes.
So he goes on and does 25 minutes of crowd work, brings his opener on like a compere would, then has a break, and then does his hour. So everyone who's like got to know him for his crowd work stuff, they come and get to see what they've sort of know him for, and then he gets to go, right, you've had that, now I get to do the stuff I actually want to do.
That's good. I think that's sharp. That makes sense. I don't know many comics doing that.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, checks. I mean, like what? I know Nigel Ung, like who we both know from the UK, who's Uncle Roger.
He goes on and cooks an entire meal. Start to finish.
Uncle Roger?
Yeah. Nah,
He goes and makes perfect fried rice, and then brings his opener on.
Look, Adam's being facetious. What he does is he gets Jamie Oliver out to cook something and criticizes it loudly throughout. But no, he opens for himself as Uncle Roger. Like he goes out and he's Uncle Roger, and then he comes out as Nigel Long and does the stand-up.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I wonder whether anyone else in the second half of that show is a bit like, he looks awfully similar to Uncle. That's the gap.
It's like, can I say that? Is that racist? This guy looks just like that guy, but they're probably two different Asian people.
When he, because he did our podcast like 2 or 3 years ago, Nigel, and like I asked, was I allowed to do his accent? I think, I can't remember, this is like, I'm misremembering it, but he was like, yeah, because it's not real. It's like, I'm doing an accent.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, that's not how I speak at all.
Yeah. That's funny because I'm like, because what I did that Uber driver on this for like, there was a Hamo fan. It was like an Indian fella. And I was like, no, it was like how he spoke. Like, I'm not doing a fucking Apu. Like,
Yeah, no, you're doing one specific person.
yeah. As
Yeah,
opposed
I
to
think
like,
Do it again?
nah.
I forget it.
Find it. Prove it. Did it survive the edit? We'll never know. But yeah, it is. I find that funny that, yeah, because Nigel, I think, is pretty no bullshit with that kind of stuff. He's like,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
dude. But you had a fun one last night because you did the running joke last night.
I did.
Adam jumps up and he got a heckle from what I'm going to assume is I'm going to say is an Asian fella. And you made a joke. What was it? What was the joke?
So
I forgot what even started it.
I was doing so what I was doing I did 2 sets last night, and I know it's very unlikely that people go to comedy twice in a week, but I thought, you know what, just in case anyone comes to my show in Sydney on Friday after being at these, I was like, I'll just do a set that's got no jokes in that the hours got in. I'll just do old stuff. And I've got this routine that was on a special I did a couple of years ago about the terror attack we had in Liverpool, which no one really heard about outside of the UK because like he failed. A bomb went off in a taxi and the taxi driver survived. Like that's
a massive fail.
Shit the bomb was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the car was fine. Like genuinely, like obviously the guy was a bit shaken up, but like the video is on YouTube. The driver just gets out the car after the bomb's gone off. Like you can watch it happen. And there's a guy in the audience last night who goes, "Was the bomb made in China?" Now this guy could very well have been Chinese, you know, or maybe he's Taiwanese or whatever. But he goes, "Was the bomb made in China?" And if I was more comfortable, if I wasn't as jet lagged and I was like, you know, at home, if I was in Liverpool, I'd have probably gone to town on him a little bit. But I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to just not. I was like, I'm just going to not engage with you. And I literally said to him, I was like, I'm just not going to bother, mate. Like, you just, like, your line didn't work. I'm going to crack on with the joke I'm already doing, which is already on dodgy territory enough. Like, I'm 6 minutes into a 10-minute set doing stuff about a terror attack that none of you have heard about. Like, it needs a lot of context, this, and you're not really fucking helping.
Yeah, it was very funny because it was like the kind of heckle where it's like, hey, here's another joke for you. Yeah. And you're like, no, brother, I got him.
Yeah. I've got him written the second half of this. Like,
yeah. No, it was just funny because like, it was that because we chatted about it after, just like that thing about home soil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're on home soil, you know where the lines are, you know where you can kind of push stuff. And then you're like in a brand new place because you've never been Australia before.
No.
Like, ever.
And also, like I said to you last night, if it was my show, if that was Friday night and someone shouted that out, I'd quite happily, you know, run the risk of putting the show into the fucking wall and actually have a go at the guy and, you know, deal with it. But it wasn't like I'm on a mixed bill gig at your gig, like I'm a last minute edition jumping up. I'm not going to just throw the gig into the wall and have the whole audience be like, Jesus Christ, who's this guy? Like, but if it's at my show, I'd have reacted a little bit different. But I just decided to just, you know, lay up, to use a golf term.
In case you're wondering how Adam's comedy career is going. Use a little golf term there, no biggie.
You're still acclimatizing, mate. You're here for another week?
Yeah. If you've been here for longer, you would have realised that in Australia, racism fucking have a go. We don't mind.
He gets racist.
Well, I had heard the rumours. I just
wait. It's getting out.
I hadn't seen it in the wild yet, so I just wasn't sure. You know. But yeah, another week. I've got another 8 days. So we're in Brisbane tonight, Sydney Friday, Melbourne Saturday, and then Perth is not till next Wednesday.
So. Yeah, well, in Perth, you'll be acclimatized, and Perth will appreciate it even more.
Yeah.
If anybody likes a bit of what anti-Asian racism, Hammer.
Absolutely.
They're in the same bloody time zone as China, mate.
They're sick over there. Sick. I love them. That's why I'll be over there. If you want a beer, I'll be in Perth next week.
Oh, let's absolutely do it. Yeah. And then I've got the direct flight back to Heathrow. 17 hours, no stop.
Are you coach or biz?
Biz.
Oh, that's nice.
Wait, this is the day after, so the Thursday next week? Oh, man, hectic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I land back in the UK at 5 a.m. at Heathrow in London. And I've got a taxi picking me up to take me straight to our podcast studio so that I don't miss another episode.
Wow. Because what, London to Liverpool, 4 hours?
4.5, yeah.
Taxis do that?
If you paid them enough money.
Wow.
There's a friend of mine I used to work in McDonald's with, and he's a taxi driver. So I was like, do you want this job next week? And
you got a guy.
I've got a guy. A taxi guy. I don't mean to brag, but I can get picked up from anywhere. As long as the price is right.
If I pay him,
yeah,
it'll happen.
He loves the jobs because like a taxi driver would rather do one big job like that and take the rest of the day off than be, you know, waiting around all day for Uber jobs and taking it one by one. So
yeah.
It just means he's got to leave Liverpool around midnight on Friday or Thursday night.
Yeah, and do the round trip. Fuck.
I had a guy DM me the other day to say that he was like a driving service and he's driven a lot of big name comedians, and he was like, just let me know whenever you need a lift. I'm like thinking like I can just get an Uber, eh? Like I don't think I need this service.
Occasionally when we've got like a high profile guest coming into our studio, we'll send like a chauffeur for them. And
having done the podcast, no chauffeur sent.
Yeah. That checks out.
It's just
paid for my own parking.
I get it.
Like sometimes we'll get in touch with like a comic who's like not playing Liverpool, and they'll be like, we can't really get there. Like we're not, and we'll be like, we'll send a car. Like,
yeah.
Like we picked Doug Stanhope up from Nottingham, and that's like a 3-hour drive.
Yeah,
but
that's
I was
a
like,
journey.
look, we want you to come and do the show, so like we'll send you a car. And he took mushrooms on the way, and for the first hour of the show was pretty high, and didn't really understand what was going on. The second half, he really tuned in because he came out of it a bit. But the first half, yeah.
I think like an American surrounded by Scouse accents on mushrooms, that's going to be way too much for them to deal with.
Yeah, I don't think he was fucking...
Hamo, thoughts?
I was the Mushroom King of Sydney. I don't know if you know that. I was,
Mushroom King of Sydney.
Yeah, I sold magic
if
mushrooms.
that's not a movie title.
That was the guy.
Underbelly, Mushroom King.
When I was in Tasmania last week, they were telling me they just grow freely everywhere. The mushrooms just on the hills everywhere. And I was like, well, that would have been bad for my business. I would have had to go picking them to have a monopoly. It would have been very difficult. So, yes, in Sydney, they're not easily found. So that's why we grew them in a house.
So you got a lot of business.
I had a big business, yeah.
Because no one had figured out that a short trip over to Tasmania is
That's what you need.
A short trip over to Tasmania, just a comfy 15-hour drive.
But that feels normal out here. Like
You've been in the country for 72 hours. Let's
but I'm
pump the
talking
brakes
to
on. That
people-
feels normal out here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, right? So I've got a friend of mine who used to work in a nightclub with me in Liverpool. She now lives out here with her husband. And when I put the post up saying I was coming out, she was like, oh my God, I'm getting Perth tickets. She lives like 20 minutes outside of Darwin.
Oh.
That
is
She's
quite
like,
far.
I'm getting Perth tickets. I'm like, that's like a comedian announcing a show in like Turkey, and me going, well, I've got to go.
I must admit, I live in Australia. I lived here my whole life. I didn't quite clock how far Darwin is from Perth until I did that flight recently.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-hour flight.
Is it Cunnaburra or something like that?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
It's something like that.
You're telling me that the Northern Territory has a third city, and that's whoa, mind blowing.
I don't know whether
I mean,
she's-
actually calling it a city, I'm sure.
I don't know whether
Town.
she's actually in. I think it's technically Western Australia, and when I say it's 20 minutes outside of Darwin, what I mean is it's quite close on the map. So I've assumed that's how close it is. But
Oh, maybe she's near like Broome or something.
Carnarvon? Is that what it's called?
Cunnaburra.
Conora. Okay, these
This
are all
place-
places we don't know.
Karanora.
So
Yeah, it'd be middle of nowhere.
Oops. Do you need some Wi-Fi? This is good. This is good content here. Me watching.
it is
Anderson.
Western Australia. It's
Okay.
there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it said it's a 2-day and 2-hour drive
Fuck that.
from where we are currently. A nice 50-hour drive from Sydney.
Mental.
Dude, but the one it is like that I didn't even realize was if you go to like Brisbane, right? Like that's Queensland, and there's like more of Queensland further north you go. It's like Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Townsville, Cairns, whatever. And like, you know, Sydney to Melbourne's 10 hours, but then Brisbane to Cairns, which is like the top of the same state, is like what, 20? Like it's so far.
Yeah.
Like that far north Queensland, when they put far in the title, there's a bit of a
There should be
fucking
some
hint.
extra A's in there.
Far north Queensland. Yeah.
It's just so fucking stupidly big.
Yeah.
Like you're all so far away from everything, including
Each other.
yourselves.
That's true. Yeah.
Like it's
That is-
like this little tour that like has been put together for me. It's 4 shows, and like I'm popping off to Brisbane for the day today. Like I'm there for like 22 hours in total, I think, before flying back. But that like how long's that flight? How like
2 hours.
yeah, that's insane.
10-hour drive.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, you don't think about it until like being in the UK, it's just like I can get like an overnight bus to Brussels
Yeah,
from
And, like,
London.
Like a gig in the UK that's like 3 hours away is a fucking ball ache. That's like, that's quite a long way to go. And I imagine, like, I don't know the entire ins and outs of how sort of the road gigs work over here, but I imagine 3 hours over here is a fucking doddle.
Well, you just gotta fly. Like, there's just not that much in the middle. Like, little factoid. Like, what is it, Hammer? Like, 95% of the Australian population lives within an hour of the coast.
Yeah, it's
Like, there's just
places.
nothing in the middle, bro.
Nah.
Nothing apart from Uluru, which you should call Ayers Rock and climb if you can.
An ex-girlfriend of mine lived in the middle of fucking nowhere, like in the outback.
Alice Springs?
I've got no idea.
They did a map recently of like where the biggest population of US expats living in Australia is, and the highest amount is like right in the middle of Australia in Alice Springs, where they have like the secret US base.
I mean, it's not secret anymore, I guess. Hey, it's a secret base. Don't fill out any census. You're going to blow our cover here.
It's like 2% everywhere else, and then it's like right in the middle of Australia. It's like 30% American.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was Darwin because they got the base up there, the less secret base.
I've got no idea.
Yeah,
Sorry, I haven't done much research.
You know,
and you shouldn't.
so I used to do the public relations for a bike share company, right? There's like a global company that like you might have seen them, like they just sit on the street. You could scan them with your phone and unlock them and ride your bike.
Like City Bike.
Yeah.
The UK one.
yeah.
And this company, they were doing well in so many cities like Milan and stuff, where the town really got around it. But the two places that they had the biggest issues were Melbourne, where people were just throwing it into fucking trees in the Yarra River. And then the biggest place they had an issue was Liverpool, because everyone was just putting them in their backyards. And then they had like the GPS tracker, and the company would go to their house and be like, hey, you have one of our bikes in your backyard? And they'd be like, no, we fucking don't. Fuck off or I'll stab you.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So we got the Voi scooters, you know, like the electric scooters you can hire. I don't know whether you've seen them. So we got them in Liverpool, and then they just were littered all over the city because initially it was, you can pick this up anywhere you find it and drop it wherever you are done with it.
Yep.
And then they were so just like spread everywhere and just being left on like street corners and stuff that you can now only pick them up and drop them off in like these specified bays. And you have to take a photo on the app of where you've left it, and they have to like approve before they'll lock you out and like cancel your session. They have to like approve how you've left the scooter, because people were just like being like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm going shopping and just fucking throwing it in the middle of the street.
I'm pretty sure kids from Liverpool also broke the record. They had like they had this technique where they would snap the leg off the bike, this metallic leg, and then use that to jimmy off the GPS tracker all in like 30 seconds. And I was like,
You just can't, like, in a city where kids are bored and there's fuck all to do and everything's expensive, you can't just leave bikes around where it's like, you can borrow this for a bit if you like, because people will just be, like, people steal shopping trolleys and they don't even have uses for them. Like, at least bikes we've got a use for.
yeah.
Yeah. Is it the thing in the UK, the trolley pole? That was a big thing when we were like teenagers here. You like get the pole like off the trolley and you use that as a weapon. You could like snap the...
They're quite durable, yeah.
Yeah. They're very like hard metal.
They got knives.
Yeah.
Getting the
over there.
pole off a trolley, like a...
No, like as in like where you push the trolley, it's got the handle.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that pole. Like that kind of
Oh,
bit.
no, we hadn't got that far. I think
Okay.
that's...
You guys are still on knives, right? You're still...
We're still on knives.
I mean, I think still knives. I think it's ahead of poles. I don't want to go into military history, but I think, you know, the knife army's beating the pole army.
Yeah.
Just another defeat for the poles,
Oh, no.
unfortunately.
It's, yeah, there's so much stabbing in the UK at the minute. There's just so much of it. It's like getting more popular, and it's so depressing. It's like some people have just found out that you can do it, and they've like, it's like a new thing. It's like a popular thing.
Do what?
I think it's like vintage. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you know, in the Middle Ages, swords. I'm gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, and it's so annoying because like we've felt so high and mighty in the UK, like looking at America and their gun laws for
dude.
so long, and it's like, how could you be so stupid to just allow people to be going around killing each other? Like, oh, people going to schools with guns and then in the UK, it's just like, it's like people in the UK have took it personally the other way around, and they're like, well, I can stab more people than you can shoot. Like, like people are got like literally killing other teenagers and children with knives at the same rate that Americans are killing each other with firearms. it's very difficult to have like the high and mighty attitude towards America anymore because it's so bad.
It's a lot more personal an attack with a knife than a gun as well.
It's true. Really close.
There's no like innocent bystander with a knife.
No.
It's just like, oh yeah, sorry, it was a stray stab.
drive
but I
by
just caught you.
It's
I wasn't even actually stabbing at you. You were just there as I was stabbing the street in general. Just a drive-by knifing.
And it's happening all the time, and everyone is stabbing each other. And because of the rise of the far right again in Europe and in the UK, like whenever like a person of color is like doing the stabbing, they're like, "See, immigration," and then a white person does it, and they're like, "Da, da, 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 da."
Yeah.
It's
That guy
mental health
must
then,
be
right?
must be
Yeah,
descended from a knight.
it's fucking horrific.
Yeah, I mean, it's very funny that like Australia's the exact same with the gun thing. You know, it's just like these fucking dumb Americans with their stupid guns look at us, and it's like, oh yeah, we can't serve glass schooners after 10 p.m. Because we will hit each other in the face with them. Like we got to invent a new type of plastic for schooner glasses.
That's quite late for the UK. Like if you go and watch a football game in the UK, like on a Saturday afternoon, come like the second half, they're giving you plastic pint glasses.
Oh mate, at sport, there's never been glass inside an Australian sports stadium since I've been alive. Surely, Hamo, maybe rugby union.
Not even at the stadiums though. I'm talking about like in the pub watching.
Oh,
Like if you're in a beer garden watching like a Liverpool game, the second half you're getting Guinness in a plastic cup.
I mean, at a lot of places, where a lot of sporting events, it's not even full strength beer, right? When they
go mid-strength.
They do mid-strength. So you got plastic cups and it's not even full strength alcohol.
but I thought
It's a bit
UK
shit.
had like as in it's like one standard drink per schooner it's like 3%. Because usually our beers are close to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are probably sitting high 3s, low 4s. UK beer isn't as strong from memory.
Rugby leag,
Like the old lagers
rugby league and
and stuff.
cricket. Rugby league and cricket outside the members area was like mid-strength, but
Yeah.
the rugby union was still full strength. Right?
Because they're good people who can handle their alcohol.
Well, in the UK, at a football game, you can't take beer into the stands.
Ah.
So they sell beer on the concourse, like in the bar of the stadium.
And what are you going to drink it there?
You can drink it there, but you can't take it out to watch the game. So you can have like 3 before the game, but then you sober up during the first half because you can't actually have any alcohol while you're watching it.
What a dilemma.
But at rugby, you can just drink the whole game. And at the end, like when the NFL comes to the UK, you can just drink the whole game. It's the only time in football stadiums you get to actually drink is when it's American football.
So there's no beer snakes at a football game?
No.
Right? Oh, my God.
No. You can drink soft drinks, water, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, but no alcoholic drinks, like actually in the stadium.
Yeah, the beer snake at the cricket is a true highlight.
Yeah.
You know, getting into the
Do you know
third.
what a beer snake is?
I'm taken from context that it's the guy who goes around with the big tray.
No, Hammer.
It's when like hundreds and hundreds of guys will work together and every plastic cup gets connected into like this very long snake that goes around half the stadium of like just beer.
Half the stadium.
Okay.
Slight hyperbole there from Hammer.
2 or 3 rows. 2 or 3 rows. We're talking maybe like 100 plastic cups.
Just empty plastic cups.
Empty plastic cups all get connected. Guys from the row behind be like, oh yeah, we've got a stack here. We've got a stack here.
Yeah, like you'll
And then-
get like a quarterback of
then
the
you've
snake
got-
being
then you've
like,
got-
send them forward. We're making a snake. And everyone's like, here you go, mate. Here you go. And then you hold it up and everyone goes,
And it's almost like showing off. Like, look at how much this group of guys, how many beers we've had, right?
Yeah.
It's kind
This
of like a
is
show off.
making me homophobic.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Look how long our snake is. It's kind of like we're packing heat.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of our cocks.
I'd love to see you come and try that at like a Liverpool game. Just have people like, fucking put it down.
I'm trying to watch sport here, boy.
I think cricket, there's like a drinks break, there's tea. There's plenty of time to get this stuff done. Yeah, it's funny that Hammer's got Liverpool statistics because I do feel like Australia has like a connection. Sydney's got a Liverpool, by the way.
I say,
Yeah. I wouldn't bother, but it is there.
A lot of guys that I was in jail with from Liverpool. So probably similar to your Liverpool.
yeah.
It's down the M5.
There's a lot of Liverpool fans out here because you've got like that bar I sent you.
Yeah,
say,
cheers.
Cheers. Shall I watch the NFL there? That's a Liverpool supporters bar.
Yeah, and there's one in Melbourne as well, the Imperial Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say that. I think it's because of the football team. Like, what do you reckon, Hammer? You're not EPL at all, are you?
No.
Nah. I think like out of all of them, Liverpool's the most supported club from Australia, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just kind of maybe Harry Kewell, but there was someone before that as well, I think. I forget who, but we just kind of had that connect.
Yeah. Harry Kewell came with so much promise and didn't really deliver. He was great at Leeds, but apparently, history would have been very different. Liverpool had a choice in the summer. They signed Harry Kewell to either sign Cristiano Ronaldo or Harry Kewell, and they chose Harry Kewell. Fuck.
I mean, I just can't decide who was the better player. It's tough.
Liverpool made that decision because they were like, well, he's played in the Premier League. He's proven in the Premier League. We should probably get Harry Kewell. Ronaldo's like this young kid from Portugal. Who knows whether he's going to be any good? And the rest is very much history.
I like to think the Liverpool board was just like, I mean, what are the odds of two really good players being called Ronaldo? Surely lightning's not going to strike twice. If you're in the NBA, it's like, should we draft Michael Jordan? Probably not.
I think, long term, morally, we did well to sign Harry Kewell due to some allegations that we don't know whether are true.
Allegations.
I haven't specified them, so you can't sue me.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Just like my accent. Did it happen?
Allegations about Ronaldo?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I don't want to hear this. He just set up his own YouTube channel like a week ago or something like that. And like my barber yesterday was showing me. He's like, "Look at these figures." He went from like.
Of course, your barber is interested in follow accounts. Hamo, one of the most numbers-driven social media people in comedy. It's like, you seen this? Look at the growth on this shit.
It was like, brother, 5 million in the first hour. Like, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, crazy. He's like,
that is like the most barber chat of all time. Check out this footballer's YouTube numbers. You're like, holy shit. Wait, we're actually in the middle of the podcast, and Tammy, for the first time in a while, we might be able to get this pilot ad.
oh my
At
god,
the right time. Are you okay to do this pilot ad?
Yeah.
Adam? Awesome. So the Flog Cabin is brought to you by Pilot, which is an erectile dysfunction medication, and I'm pretty sure exists in the UK.
there you go.
They're in the UK now. They've expanded. They're an Australian startup.
They're called Pilot.
Pilot.
Okay.
Well, the big company's called Eucalyptus, but I think the men's health is Pilot.
Okay.
So I sent this to Hamo. The first bit says Adam Rowe ad don't read. So don't read that.
I didn't read it. Is there a bit for me or
No. I just sent it. I typed it in WhatsApp and I just sent it to you because I didn't want to spoil it. So you could just go straight down the barrel.
Hey there, floggers. I'm Liverpool supporter / comedian Adam Rowe. If you're a fan of my comedy or have stared at my face for more than 5 seconds, you'll know I have a lazy eye. But you might not know, my cock is even lazier. That's right, I've got a shiftless stiffy and a sluggish schlong. That is difficult to say. A do-nothing dong. And no matter how much fitness content to post to social media now, it's not running any marathons anytime soon. I don't think that was written very well. But luckily, I found Pilot. Their ED medication has my dick harder than Jurgen Klopp's teeth. Hard teeth. And roughly the same shade of white. That is true.
There we go.
Thanks, Pilot. Save $20 on your first order. Either way, with the promo code FLOGGERS20 at checkout. Pilot. Hard. Made easy. This company exists in the UK now, but I'm not sure the promo code works.
It's nice to have a disclaimer in there.
what was that tongue twister?
Schlong.
Sluggish, schlong, shiftless, stiffy, and do nothing dong.
Wow.
I looked up synonyms
it-
for lazy
I think it is.
and then made them alliterative with synonyms for penis.
It's a very good, for a laddie podcast. It's a good sponsor, isn't
Are
it?
you suggesting this is a laddie podcast?
You're too.
Most of our listeners are women. We've got a big female
I don't know
following.
if it's most of us.
Most of them are women. Big female followers.
51% or more.
No. Just like as in we've got a big female following. All our female followers are big.
I think just because every time we meet a woman who's a fan of the podcast, we're so surprised. I think that just lodges in our head and thinks that that's skewing the data. I definitely don't think that they're more than
I have
20%.
no male friends who frequently listen to this podcast, but a few female friends. And when I do live shows and I'm like, any floggers in, it's always women.
Okay.
Always. I bumped into someone on the street in Coogee,
But-
like a mum with a bub in a pram being like, wait, are you Daniel Muggleton? I'm listening to your podcast right now.
Okay, but we have met a lot of guys that are cowards that don't admit openly that they're listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's not toxic masculinity. That's just being normal. What, am I going to support a bunch of dudes in their art? Gay.
we'll be at a live show. We're like, any floggers in? And it'll be like dead silence. And after the show, they'll all come to me like, big fan of the podcast.
Yeah, a huge fan.
Do you get that with your pod, or people are just proud to be fans?
Like people love telling us they're patrons, but
Yeah.
both men and women. We're about sort of 65, 35. Like people think we're a really laddie podcast, but we do have like about a third of our listeners are like sort of women.
Yeah.
Sort of women?
Sort of women, you know, they're trans.
Don't tell J.K. Rowling.
They're not hot women, but
They're sort of women, you know, like from a distance, you're like, is that?
A sort of woman is so different to a woman who's a sort.
yeah.
But they love telling us they're patrons, so they come like £10 patron. You know, I'm a £10 patron.
Oh.
That's it. Like they
See?
like a badge. I'm a
That
£10
could be us one day.
Well, patrons.
Yeah.
Dude, they won't even admit to listening. It's like going to give us money.
Are you not got a
fucking
patron now?
mind? No, not yet. No.
It's good stuff.
It will happen soon. We wanted to give them a year. You know, we'd be like, hey, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Now, it's very hard as admitted private school kind of people.
Yeah.
To be like, now support us
some money.
financially.
Yeah, but I
it's
think
easy
like
to
you
ask
can
you
do
than
it
my
as long as
dad.
you're giving them something for it. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Absolutely.
Like there just has to be more content. Like our Patreon, they get so much extra stuff.
Yeah, yours is amazing. Because, in fairness, going on your podcast and some of the other podcasts in the UK was the reason I came back and we started this. This was, very much a direct result of that. And I just remember seeing those things you did, like the going to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like, going on like kind of trips and like filming everything, like having like a full blown like special of like them just fucking around in
that's
a
sick.
foreign cities. So
we
good.
do a special every month. So
Yeah.
they get an extra episode every week and they get a special every month.
It's wild.
And like like I know obviously I'm biased, but it's such ridiculous value and we keep it so low. Like
Yeah.
like the lowest tier of Patreon get every piece of content. There's no more content for the higher tiers. They get like earlier access to some stuff. They get discounts on merch and stuff like that. But all of the content goes to everybody on it at the same time. And it's I do think they get their money's worth.
Do you have any like insane tier where like if someone gives you guys like fucking 20 grand a month, you'll go live with them for a week?
No, and genuinely the reason we don't do that is someone will pay it. Like they would.
Yeah.
It's like I imagine you sort of you will end up bumping into fans who like they listen to you every week and like how long are the episodes?
About an hour.
So, like, our episodes range between 2 and 3 hours for the public ones, and then our Patreon episodes are an hour and a half, and then the specials are normally 2 hours. So, like, they're getting like 4.5, 5 hours a week from us. And when was the last time you spoke to anybody in your life for 5 hours in a week? You don't even talk to your partner for 5 hours in a week. You just like it's.
No, we just kind of sit near each other scrolling.
It's so much time. So then, but like we've been in there, we're in their ears when they're going to sleep. We're in their cars. We're in their bathroom. Like everywhere they're like going about their day, and they then think we're their friends because they're constantly listening to us, but we don't know who they are. So when they come up to us at like events and they're just like, Adam, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, I've got no plan. Like they're just excited that the guy they listen to all the time is there. It can be it's such a weird like parasocial relationship.
I'm having that situation now where I have to like figure out whether this person is yelling at me because I'm meant to know them or whether they just know me from like, comedy. Dan said that you've interacted with someone before where I think you told me that you straight away say like we don't know each other.
Oh, dude, this is gonna sound clangy, but Mike Birbiglia, I did a bunch of shows with him on Zoom during COVID. What a time it was. And he had this thing where it's like, you ever go up to a celebrity, like, because someone was asking him in like a Q&A, it's like always start just being like, you don't know me. Like, just start the conversation there, and then I think
it helps.
They just ease off. They're like, I'm not trying to remember you anymore. Like, you're just a person. Okay, now we can talk. Yeah. And I think it's just such great, like, I've certainly used it when talking to famous people.
The issue I have sometimes when someone will recognize me, like in the street or something, like at an event, normally people come up and they'll be like, hey man, I just want to say, I've been listening to the podcast for 3 years and it's really helped me with this, that and the other. And I'm a big fan. Like, they've got what they want to say most of the time.
Yeah.
When people see you in the street or in a bar, they're not expecting it. but they're still excited. So they come up with absolutely no plan of how to have the conversation, but they'll forget to even tell you that they like you. So they'll just come up and be like, Adam, and you go, yeah, and they're like, I listened to the podcast, and you're like, right, well, you still haven't told me you like it yet. Like, I hate follow some stuff, so I don't know whether that's what. So you can't even say thank you. You don't know what to say, and they don't know what to say. It's just such a odd dynamic, and it takes a long time to get used to it and know how to navigate it.
Oh man, that thing where people come up to you and they're like, "Oh, I came to a show," and they just leave it there. And it's like 3 seconds of silence, and you're like, "Thanks. Did you like it?" Like, I just want to clarify. You're not just really upset about something. It's like, hey, I pointed out that, it was Chinese made, that bomb, and you didn't deal with it very well. Yeah, but no, because we thought for one of our Patreon tiers, the fact that you think someone will pay it makes me very happy. Is one of them is a brewski with Drewski, which is where we will fly you to Sydney to have a beer with Hamo.
There we go. Isn't that just dreams come true, man?
And how much is the tier going to be?
Look, we got to figure that out. We got to crunch some numbers.
We'll start high. We'll start high and slowly work our way down
because
until
it
it's
is
$20.
global, and like you might end up losing money on this.
But that would be so funny. Like flying someone like, $2,000 on a flight or whatever. Like, because obviously one way, get yourself home. Not my problem anymore. I just said I'd get you 2 Hamo. And you got to pay for the round, by the way. You can just hang out with him.
You'd be surprised, man. There'll be a super fan who'll want it. And if they've got the money, they'll do it.
I love it because I'm not Drewski. If I was Drewski, I'd be very protective of this tier of the Patreon.
I think you've got to be there too, though.
Nah, I'll just make sure there's your taxi man nearby.
I think you and Tom have to be live podding while I do it.
Just describing it like an Attenborough documentary. The fan has approached Hamo. He's made eye contact for longer than you'd think.
But you speaking about you don't speak to anyone for more than a few hours. Like I get uncomfortable when Dan calls me and tries to speak to me for more than 10 minutes.
I hate anyone giving me a phone call unless like someone's dying.
What's wrong with you people? It's so much faster than texting.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, but there's
Yes, it is.
But there's so much unnecessary chat on the phone call as well.
Unnecessary chat. Oh, like banter?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
like
just so
like
joy.
Like
last
warmth?
night you texted me the address to be here today. Imagine if you'd called me and said, "This is my address, by the way," and then put the phone down.
Well, but an address you need to refer to in the future. That's like information.
Or if you rang me and was like, "We're doing the pod at 10 a.m." Like, it's just fucking stupid. But anyone who calls me who doesn't text me in advance to let me know they're going to call me can fucking die. Like, honestly, I just think it's so rude.
See?
Like, what are you doing interrupting my life?
This guy gets
For
it.
what?
This guy gets it.
Send me a voice note. A voice note's perfect. It's a phone call in your own time.
Don't fucking inflict your Spanish customs on me. These fucking continental Europeans just Espanoling
so
into the
better.
phone on the voice note.
I also have some views on voice notes
Here
because
we go.
I had a mate who broke up with a girl via voice note.
What?
And I was like, that's the most dick move I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you on this. I've had this argument with many a person. Breaking up with someone in person is selfish, okay? You're doing it because that's what society has said is the right thing to do. And you want to feel like you've done the right thing.
So you think it's time wasting?
No, I think it's not fair to break someone's heart and have them have to look at you while you're doing it. Send them a text and be like, "We're done." It's the nicest way to break up with someone.
A text?
A text. It's the nicest way. That if they're on the phone with you or on FaceTime or whatever, then people are crying and they get embarrassed and they're like, "Oh no," like they get to react in their own time.
Someone's got tickets on themselves during this breakup. They're crying. Are they?
Yeah, but they are, aren't they? They are. Like a text is
In person, you might see them do this. Oh, thank God. Now I don't have to do it.
But if they feel that way, then a text is still even nicer because they don't have to pretend to be upset.
I think think it really depends on how long you've been dating for which one of these ones qualify. But I still think out of all of them, a voice note is just sheer arrogance to be like, I'm not even going to have the balls to have like a 2-way conversation with you about this. You're going to have to listen to something that I recorded and be like, hey, babe, look, I think it's been a great time. And,
here's an uninterrupted list of all the reasons I don't want to be with you.
Can you imagine the voice? It's like Instagram. The voice note taps out at 59 seconds.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, that cut off there for a second. What I was saying was your views and your face. Yeah, it's both. I don't like any of it.
No voice notes, and I think.
But the thing about the voice note, like it's cold and callous. But I would be terrified of the voice note back. Or are you just at that point not listening? You're like, I've sent my breakup voice note. This is the end of all communications.
I don't know. I just think it's like doing it in person is just so unnecessary, and I think we all. Like, everyone's sort of convinced that, like, oh, yeah, no, you have to be brave and do it in person. It's like, why? Give them the dignity of crying on their own and then an hour later texting you back and being like, well, fuck you. And then they don't get the embarrassment of, like, they were upset. They can own it and be like, I wasn't even upset anyway. Fuck. Like, you give them that gift of getting to say they don't care and that you don't get their immediate reaction. They get to keep that for themselves, and only they know whether you actually upset them, and they can present any sort of reaction they want to you in their own time. It is so much nicer.
There is an insane level of logic to what you're saying. You're not wrong, but I also, I think we are conditioned to think like it's a respectful thing.
Yeah.
If you've been in a relationship for a few years, you've got to do it face to face.
No, 25 years of marriage, text, not feeling it. Bye.
25 years of marriage.
Why waste the text? Just write it on the fridge. Little note. I won't be picking up milk, and see ya.
Gone forever. Yeah.
Fuck. It's been real. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think the in-person, is it because you're giving them a chance to yell at you? Like, it's like, hey, you can let out any of the emotions you have, you can confront me with them. Like, I'm not hiding from them. And the other thing is give them a chance to convince you that you should stay together. Is that on the thing? Is that part of it? Is it opening the negotiation?
I mean,
is it like selling a car and putting O&O at the end, or nearest offer? Like, let's see, break up or nearest offer.
If you break up with someone and they then argue for you to stay and manage to convince you, how have they got any faith in that relationship going forward?
Or maybe they're just very persuasive.
Like,
I mean, Hammer started this out being like, voice notes are a horrible idea, and now he's like, I hope Adam wakes up with me via voice note. He's made some good points.
I think I don't think we're a very good match. I think we're terrible for each other. I'm not really attracted to you anymore, and I think we should be done. Well, here's all the reasons we should stay together. How can you then stay together knowing that they already thought all of the other stuff?
I feel like we're just doing different breakups, because you're kind of doing a breakup like you're firing someone.
You're ugly, you're stupid, you've never put any effort in.
Whereas I'm like, maybe we should work on the jobs. Like, you were great here. We loved you at the company, but I just don't think there's a future for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is like firing someone.
I feel like this is a weird thing, but I feel like, now that I'm married and been in like this very long-term relationship, like I haven't broken up with someone for like a very long time. So I think I'd be out of practice at it. And I think it's kind of rough that the breakups that would hurt the most, like the longest term relationships, are coming from the people who haven't broken up with people for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever been broken up with?
Oh, I used to be a breakup coward. I used to just become increasingly annoying until they would dump me.
It's good to know how this podcast is eventually going to end.
Yeah. I was too much of a coward to even do it, because I was like, you got to do it face to face. I haven't got the guts for that. I'm just going to go on like constant benders until they're like, well, I don't even have a boyfriend anymore. Like, what's going on here?
I'm not a cocaine addict. I'm just trying to get out of a relationship.
So yeah,
Your Honor, I didn't want to get into drug dealing. I just didn't want to break up with her.
Have you met her?
It's got to be bad when that doesn't work, though. And then she's just like, right, we're cokeheads now, class. That's what we both do. I've wanted to do this for ages.
That's when you start to come back around to the relationship, you know?
Yeah. Like when you really try and put someone off, you're like, right, I've got this sexual kink. I want to shit on your chest. And she's like, fucking do it. You're like, oh, no. How am I going to shake your dad's hand on Christmas morning now?
I guess you can't smell a voice note.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean I think that's classic dude, to be fair. And maybe that's just, male self-importance, but I think dudes are the kings of like, I want to be out of this relationship. I don't want to be the bad guy because I want to rebound immediately.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wait for her to break up with me.
Become more and more of a dead shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the bad guy, so I'm just going to go on coke benders until she leaves me.
And
like a good boy.
and be messy and forget a birthday. And, there's a lot more to it than just the cocaine.
Yeah, just like
the
sitting there with a mind
unreliability.
map being like, what is a person someone couldn't date? How do I move from here to here? Coke bender, that's a great idea. Excellent. Forgetting birthday, yep. No more showering. Great. Cheating on her? Question mark.
Gambling addiction, chronic. Yeah, there's so much to it.
Yeah, no, I do feel bad about that. I've never thought about that before, but like the marriage thing, like just people who are just so deep into a relationship have got to like do the breakup. That's why they get lawyers involved.
Yeah, it's
let's
it's
outsource it.
Like in all seriousness, like doing any sort of breakup is so like even if you've only been together like a year, it feels so big to have to do it. Can you just imagine being like 40 years in and getting to a point where you've got to be like, I'm just not feeling this anymore. And all the admin involved in that, there's kids, mortgages,
Because that's the thing, you got to break up with your partner and then also explain that to your children.
It's just...
Guys, your mum just isn't doing it for me anymore. Before you came along, I loved getting in there.
There were some things she would do. She stopped doing them.
I would just die miserable.
And dude, so do many Greeks.
A lot of people do. I know plenty of guys that are just in like loveless marriages, and they'll stick with it because they're like, it's too much work to get out of this.
What about those families that are just like separate bedroom, like there's no physical intimacy anymore, but they just live in the same house because it's easier. They're just like the admin involved in a breakup.
Yeah. There was this is like a decade old. Tom Stade used to have this phenomenal bit about he used to love like rock music until he got married, but there's no rock music for married guys. It's like it's all like either breakup stuff or like falling in love. There's no like songs, and he's like, I just want someone to write a song for me, and it was like, I can't afford to leave you now. Compromise killed my dreams.
Dude,
such a great bit.
Wait, have I told that Tom Stade story on this? Like the way that he gets through breakups, like the way that he gets through any hardship in his life. I'm looking at Hammer, dude, because Tom Stade, so great. Like he's Canadian, but he lives in the UK. You met him at Melbourne this year, didn't you?
Times.
Yeah, so good. But it's like someone, I'm not going to say who, like called Tom Stade, like basically just having been broken up with, face to face, respectful. And he was like, just couldn't get over it. He was like asking Tom for like help, like an emotional advice. And if you've understood anything about Tom Stade so far, wrong phone call. He's not your guy.
No.
Yeah. So Tom Stade's like when I go through a breakup, I always do the same thing. I imagine my life's a movie, right? My life's a movie. Then you walk through the door, new scene. Break up in that room, new scene in this room. And the guy's like, what? And then he just hears Tom's wife in the background being like, he does do that. Oh my God. I fucking love that. Walk through the door, new scene.
He's class.
Dude,
it's one of the best good. His like turnover rate of stand-up, of top level stand-up, is just absolutely unbelievable. Like, he does an hour every year at Edinburgh, and even when and most of the hour is brilliant, but when he boils that hour down to his new 20-minute club set every year, like every single year, he's got a 20-minute club set that is as good as anybody else's best 20 ever. It's just, he's so fucking prolific. He's so underrated, like in terms of the amount of work he's sort of produced over the years. I gigged at the Comedy Store in London with him about 2 or 3 months ago, and I won't do it because he's still doing the bit, but this bit about like words becoming unacceptable, and I'll tell you it when we're done recording. Like, is just so funny. It takes a lot once you're a sort of, a weathered, experienced comic to properly make you laugh and catch you off guard with a punchline. He's just so good at it. You just don't always see where he's going. He's so fucking great.
Yeah, well, he might be about to blow up a little bit in Australia because I'm pretty sure he did the Jim Jeffries and Friends taping. Yeah. So that's like the first, like that's like our attempt at Live at the Apollo, I think, using Jim Jeffries as a vehicle. Good on you, Jim. But like, yeah, that's like the first stand-up back on Australian TV since the Footy Show got cancelled.
When was that?
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, as in there's the galas and like some Just for Laugh stuff, but like in terms of just Australian people doing stand-up on mainstream television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be the Footy Show and Rowe Live, which both haven't existed for a long time.
Yeah, and Hey It's Saturday, where there was blackface this millennium. Bit of fun. Yeah, no, it's so...
It's mad, really, that TV, because it's the same in the UK. Live at the Apollo's still running, but there's not many other stand-up shows, if any at all, at the minute. And
do you guys? Sorry, I just thought. Do you guys have a footy show? Like, is there like a thing like? Because the footy show, there was like the AFL footy show and the NRL footy show, like the two different codes, where it's just ex-players kind of having a laugh and interviewing current players.
So like there's
that's so crazy. You guys are the most sports-obsessed nation ever.
There is there's sports shows where it's ex-players discussing the game and stuff, but there's no like real comedy to it.
It's not variety.
No, it's sports analysis.
Yeah, right. Because we molded it.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if there's just like, the population size of Australia means we need to cater to both.
This was lighthearted entertainment that have football analysis, that have sketches, that have stand-up.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no sketches and stand-up, but what they are doing now is like even and Sky Sports are producing them a lot of the time, but it's podcasts. So like ex-players are getting their own podcasts, and it's a lot longer form stuff than when it's on TV, where it's like a 15-minute segment. They're getting 2 hours with a former player or manager, and there is a lot more. They can swear, they can ask questions that they wouldn't ask on TV. It's a lot more interesting. But like stand-up has never been more watched than it is right now. There's so many of us creating so much content and so many clips on phones and stuff. And you would just imagine it is the right age for there to be really big stand-up shows on TV because of that. And it's just going the exact opposite way.
Yeah. I mean, I assume the only reason they do it in general is because it's cheap. Like stand-up's very cheap to make.
Yeah.
And they still don't do it.
No.
Like, you can get like 2 hours of fucking for nothing compared to like a drama or a comedy or some shit.
It feels expensive when you film. I've just filmed my special and paid for it myself. And we're going to try and sell it, but I'd imagine it'll end up on YouTube. It was like £60,000, which is what, like $120,000.
Jesus Christ.
To film
That's a lot.
Yeah, it looks unbelievable. And Will, who's like my...
Oh, Will Hutch.
Yeah.
It filmed it. Oh, great. He's awesome.
I'll show you like the start of it. Like we haven't nailed the start of it. Yeah, we want to film something to start the special, but nothing too contrived because I hate like the start of a stand-up special where people are fucking walking through the venue and I'm just like, why am I watching him fucking walk to this? Just start the fucking show.
I saw like a tweet or like... Yeah, it was a tweet once where it's just like every stand-up special has to begin with the worst short film ever.
So we're trying to nail something that's just a little bit like it has agency, it has value to the thing, and if not, we're just going to have it start. But like what he's done already and the cinematography of it and the cameras we used, they're just fucking incredible. But it costs so much money because we filmed it to the highest spec we could, so that if Netflix were to buy it, it looks as good and if not better than most of the stuff they've got on there. And if they don't, it will easily be the highest produced quality special that's ever gone onto YouTube. And I'm not going to put it on like Amazon. I'm sure like would be interested in it, but like I don't think anyone finds something on Amazon. They'll go to Amazon to watch something that they already want to go and find. But no one's like finding new stuff on Amazon. They go to watch the thing they're watching.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Netflix and YouTube, people just scroll through and put something on.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, one thing that I find crazy with those like streaming services, they're just like comedy festival websites and weird stuff. This is fucking very inside, but like how correct you have to spell any information for something you're looking for. Like, I don't think people realize that. Like, for a few years, if you put in Dan Muggleton to like ticket websites, I would not come up. And I'm like,
it had to be Daniel.
Yes. And I'm like, can we fix that? And they're like, oh, nah. It's like, we're not Google. And I'm like, can you be?
Can you just ask Google how they do that and just borrow it? I imagine they'll let you borrow it.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like, you're just kind of like, oh, everything's so intuitive now. And they're just like, nah.
Wasn't there a time at Melbourne Comedy Festival this year when your name, Muggleton, wasn't coming up with your show, but then if you typed in tracksuit, it did come up?
Well, I mean, that's just good SEO. I actually paid them for that. That was important. Do not watch Daniel Muggleton. But that tracksuit guy's pretty funny. Fucking bang. Here he is. We're on. We're cooking. We're making it happen. Actually, the tracksuit, the first red tracksuit I ever bought was when we did my very first podcast in Liverpool.
In my flat.
In your flat.
I think you were the only ever guest on there. And I don't think it went out. I actually don't think it did.
Yeah.
Like that podcast did not last very long.
Yeah.
It was a trial period.
I remember that was so funny. I called Mary asking for permission to buy a tracksuit because in the UK I was so broke. And I was just like, can I spend 150 quid on this red tracksuit? They've got a red one.
So funny.
I don't know if I'll be able to find a red one again. It's probably because I'm in Liverpool. That's why there's a red one. And I got it.
And you bought a tracksuit that no one from Liverpool would ever buy and wear.
Yeah, it is funny. Like when British people like come to the show, they see the tracksuit, like, oh, you look like you're from Liverpool. But when there's people from Liverpool, I'm like, eh? And they're like, get fucked. It'd be like us wearing just like, a cork hat and like the Australian board short flag thing. Just like, I'm like you, right? It's like, fuck off, cunt. Like this is absolutely horrific. But wait, so Adam, we should plug your shows properly before we wind this thing up. This is your first ever Australian tour.
First ever Australian tour. Sydney.
Why'd you come out? What brought you?
Century asked me to come. So my mate Rebecca moved out here to work for Century, and she spoke to the guy who like leads the comedy arm and was like, we should bring Adam out, and we managed to make it work. It's the timing's a bit strange because I haven't done this hour since May. So to be doing it again in September is a bit weird. And I don't want to do the newer stuff because I don't want to then come back with the next tour and be like, what bits did I do last time? So I've got to just do the hour I've just filmed. I've wanted to go out for a long time. I just, because of our podcast now and how, committed I am to it and how much sort of it's part of
we should say Have a Word is the podcast. I don't think we've ever actually named it.
It's, yeah.
It will be in the description, but everyone's like, what's the fucking name?
It's I'm so committed to it, and like I have to be there for the majority of episodes. Like I can miss the odd one or two and they get guest co-hosts in, but like I can't come and do festival season here because I'd just miss 8. As a minimum, I'd miss 8 episodes if I was here for a month.
Yeah.
And I just can't do that. So I have to come out outside of festival season, and it just it lined up that this was the right time.
Yeah, great.
But couldn't you, I mean, we've had to deal with that where various members of the Flog cabin have been on tour or away, and so we've just had to like just try and ram a bunch of recordings into 1 week. Do you have to have it every week because you're responding to like things in the news agenda or like what?
It's not that. It's like to be like, too honest about it. Like we know very much where our bread is buttered. It gives us a really good living, the podcast, and not just me and Dan who is the other comic on it, but like our entire team, it's their living. And it's because we try and keep it to a really high standard. And we notice if we record twice a week anyway, once for Patreon, once for public. If we record a 3rd, 4th or 5th episode, the standard just drops because you just run out of things to say to each other. So like before I came here, we did 3 in a week because we did Patreon, public, and then pre-recorded the following Patreon.
Yep. And
when I go back, they're delaying the record till the Friday where it would normally be the Wednesday. So we do try and we do where we have to cram a 3rd one in, but if we try and do a 4th or 5th, the quality of the episode and like the funnies just drops. And
yeah, that's fair. I think we've had a similar experience if we tried to jam too many into a week. We need a little bit of an opportunity to miss each other, for the excitement of when you're recording again.
That's true. I mean, I think if people saw our group chat and saw like how frequently we'd be like, oh man, could really use the cabin today. really miss getting in the cabin.
Yeah.
They'd be surprised because they'd be like, I thought you guys were cool. We absolutely hate this.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
But it's just, I get for like you guys, it's so far to come. Like it's really funny because I was asked you when you landed, I was like, oh man, do you know how to get through jet lag?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know if you realize this, like, because we, like Australians just go, like we're just very like, I'd say most Australian people by the time they're like 25, have gone to somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere. Like it'd be pretty rare if they haven't gone States or Europe at some point, you know? And so we just know how to do jet lag. And then like when they brought people out for the festival this year, like they were like, yeah, I got in and I was tired in the morning. So I just went to sleep. And I'm like, you out of your fucking mind? Like they're just like, yeah, but I was tired though. I thought it, and just like, nah, they just fucked their whole stay. Like, you know, they're only in town for 2 weeks and they're just like on UK time for 10 days.
Yeah.
Because they don't know about going outside, getting sun, like, you know, just getting yourself on that time as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm quite good at napping.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so like I'll get to Brisbane.
You know what you'd love? Having a small child.
I'll get to Brisbane stay and I'll nap at like, 3 till 4 and then I'll be fine for the show tonight. But yeah, I think that helps me with the travel stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to figure this out today because we just had a shocking last night with the baby, horsecock, still horsecock. I want to thank one of the floor. That was like
horsecock.
Yeah, well, it's this.
His baby's got a huge cock.
Huge cock, and this is the thing, Hammer. I reckon I'm going to keep doing that joke for maybe 2 more weeks max. It's one of the short.
I thought you were going to say 18 years. Then.
No, it's just like I think it's got one of the shortest shelf lives of any joke because to say a newborn infant has a huge cock, inherently funny, but to say that about a 3-month-old is weird.
I think the weirdest age would be like 2 years. If you're still talking about your baby's dick 2 years in, that is the strangest it is ever going to get.
I mean, I wouldn't say my baby's dick at that stage. My toddler's dick. Let's be correct.
Well, so a woman was telling me recently that it's not like a lot of babies have like a big dick when they're immediately born.
How did this come up?
I might have been bragging about your son. I don't know. Oh, my mate's got a baby with a huge cock. Then she said, no, they grow out of it. Like it's a common thing. That it's just.
What a tragic sentence to hear as a man. Oh, what happened? I grew out of my cock.
I got bigger and my dick just didn't.
I really hope I grow into it. That's what I shrink and the cock grows.
Yeah.
That's a man in old age. You know, they just kind of bend over a little bit as the cock goes up. You're like, this is nice. With Pilot.
Whenever chicks are underwhelmed with me, I'm like, you should have seen me when I was born, you know?
Look at this baby photo. Same dick. And you're not happy? Yeah, we just had like a rough night with it, but I was just like, it's so funny. You have like a good night's sleep with a newborn and it's like you wake up like 3 or 4 times. Like it's just, sleep is just a completely new concept. I was thinking about it because we are pretentious on this thing and I was like, is it like a degustation as sleep? You have like 8 little sleeps instead of 1 big sleep. And I'm like, nah, it's like a mixed entree at a Chinese restaurant.
I'm like that anyway.
Deep fried sleep, brother. Crunchy. Wait, you just nap all the time?
No, I'm like throughout the night I wake up like 3 or 4 times, like even on a good night. Yeah,
what?
I'm not a good sleeper.
Why?
I don't know.
It's so nice.
I know. I like it. I'm just not good at it.
Not good at it.
Are you a snorer? Sleep apnea? What's going on?
I think
Hammer did a sleep study recently.
Huh?
Hammer did a sleep study because he's been dealing with some fatigue issues.
Yeah, I don't have sleep apnea, it turns out. But yeah.
I think I probably do.
Yeah.
Would you consider doing a sleep study?
Yeah.
And if you did a sleep study, how do you think that might go? Because I'll never forget how dumb Hammer was about this specifically. What do you think happens in a sleep study?
I imagine you have to stay awake for a while, don't you?
Well, you just got to go to bed at your usual time.
Okay.
But yeah, go on to amuse Daniel. What do you think happens in the study?
What do you think the study involves?
Oxygen levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Well, you're already further than Hammer got.
I just thought it was going to be like a camera and maybe some audio equipment or something like that. But like
it's the mask,
they put on like they do have like a breathing apparatus, like little air tubes here. But then they have like 14 wires connected, taped to your head and your chest and your everywhere
to see your brain activity. Like how deep do you enter REM sleep?
And you're meant to be able to sleep with all this on.
That's right. That's what the thing is. They connect you with all these wires, and then they say, just sleep how you normally would.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to deal very well with that, to be honest with you.
It was just so funny because Hammer genuinely was like, I just thought someone watched you sleep. Just the clipboard being like, he's nailing it.
Better. Just a woman in the corner. No, just go sleep.
I thought on the camera, it'd be black and white. They'd be like, oh, he's tossing and turning too much. And like, he made some weird noises at 2 a.m. But yeah, there's more.
I wish he had more clothes on, but they did say to sleep how you sleep normally.
I think
shit, that's a real thing. Sorry, real thing in the hospital. When like when you're in the hospital with a kid and whatever, like they say like come in and like you sleep there and as a family. By the way, you're not allowed to sleep naked. Like that's like an actual warning that nurses give you, which implies that a lot of dudes are like, well, I'm sleeping. Let's measure this against my son's horse cock.
This is how I sleep.
Yeah, I fucking love that because people are in and out all the time checking on stuff. And it's just like, you're just there like, yeah, I'll change the baby, fucking flapping around. Chaos, absolute chaos. All right, we should get out of here because you got a flight to catch to Brizzy.
Yeah.
Where are your shows? Let them know because we're getting this out tomorrow, so Thursday.
So Friday, Sydney Comedy Store. I don't think there's many left for that, but there might be a handful. Melbourne, what's it called?
Comics Lounge.
Comics Lounge in Melbourne. That's on Saturday, and then next Wednesday in Perth at
Rechabite.
The Rechabite.
The Rechabite.
I thought it was Rechabite.
They say Rechabite for some fucking reason.
They were telling me Rechabite. Maybe they were pranking me.
Shit, I thought, are they pranking me?
Yeah.
Because I've been correcting people, which I love to do.
I don't think it is the Rechabite. I don't think it is the Rechabite.
Well, it looks like it should be Rechabite, but it's just like in the Gold Coast where it's like the Hota, H-O-T-A, they say hotter.
I've got to be honest, if you say Rechabite or Rechabite, whichever one is correct, if you say that and then it's the other one and people can't find it because you've said it wrong, I don't want them at the show anyway.
That's fair.
Look, if you Google tracksuit, it will come up. That's the key. But yeah, adamrowe.co.uk.
adamrowe.co.uk. And if you want to watch anything to see if you think it's any good first, there's clips on Instagram and there's 3 full specials on YouTube.
I was going to say the special of yours that I really love, Juicy, about breaking up with someone.
Yeah,
Voice
completely
notes,
fictional, of course.
not mentioned.
Yeah.
What was that breakup? In person? Voice note.
No,
text.
that was actually over text. The fictional one, yeah.
Mate, there's truth in comedy.
Yeah.
Can't deny it. But yeah, definitely go check that out. I cannot recommend Adam enough. One of the best in the UK. And very excited he's come to Australia and joined us in the cabin.
In the cabin.
This is the freshest cabin ever. I was thinking about that this morning. Freshest cabin. Wednesday, Thursday release.
Yeah.
It's cabin to table.
This is a good time for potting. I like it.
Well, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's fresh.
Well, because like by the time we
What
get to
time
bed,
we start?
we usually record at like 6 p.m. and my brain gets a little tired by then.
Dude, I love a morning cabin.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, this is a particularly selfish one, kicking my wife and baby out.
sure.
Because we couldn't get in the
do that
studio.
more often.
Yeah, they like going for little walks. The dog especially.
You know, you were up all night worried about the baby in the hospital. Could you take the baby and fuck off for it?
And actually make it 2 hours. I want a nap. All right. Thank you so much. The way that we finish an episode. Sorry, crucial. I say...
Dick pills again.
No. You nailed that. Sluggish schlong. That is hard.
Sluggish schlong.
Fucking halfway to Sean Connery with that. I say stay flogged up. You say check the dodgems. He says bye.
Check the dodgem.
Check the dodgems, plural.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just one of our cats.
So thanks for joining us in the cabin. Stay flogged up.
Check the dodgems.
Bye.